You're listening to KFWB News Talk 980. My name is Les Brown. I'm Mrs. Baby Brown's baby boy. And we thank you so much for joining us today. And as you know, each day we come your way from 2 o'clock until 4. Our goal is to help you build mental resiliency to offset the negatives that you encounter in your everyday life experiences at home, around people, or on the job, and to create new possibilities. So thank you so much for joining us. And we invite you to become a part of a conversation. We have various topics that we select that we like really to hear your story around those topics and get some input from you and your view and how it affects you. And today we're talking about something that we have all experienced and all witnessed it, and something that we have to get under control. You know, today when we look at, we're facing some difficult times, and it's hard, and occasionally there are moments when you lose it, particularly when people are stressed out over finances. You lose it. Today, there are a few people who have been dealing with anger issues. Singer Chris Brown, he has a new album coming out today, and he went on Good Morning America to promote it. During the interview, Brown was asked about the incident in 2009 in which he pleaded guilty to a charge of felonious assault against his then-girlfriend, singer Rihanna. And Brown said that a restraining order against him had recently been relaxed. The interviewer then asked him other questions, whether or not they were seeing each other, and he said, not really, and then he avoided all the follow-up questions. But after the interview, a producer said that Brown stared him down and walked into a dressing room, and after a while they heard some loud noises coming from the room and shattering of glass, and ABC staff called the security there. And then we've heard other celebrities involved in incidents of bursts of anger. Michael Lohan, Lindsay Lohan's father, was arrested recently for domestic violence charges involving his ex-girlfriend. The question is, you know, I look at this, Les, how can you talk about those people and you know you've had issues around anger yourself? I'm a person, I don't like to get angry at all, because when I get angry, I lose it, and I'm not proud of that, not at all. And working to deal with that was something that I have really, really been mindful of and been getting some coaching on and getting some help and assistance in that area. Anger is a quote that I love to say. Anger is the wind that blows out the lamp of the mind. And there are some people that can get me real good. There's some people that just know how to push my button. I used to work for a guy named Bert Charles, and Bert Charles had me around his finger. I remember we had a dispute, and he knew just what to say to send me off. And I had earned some money on a sale, and he refused to pay me my money, saying that was too much money for me, and I lost it. I turned his desk over. I'm not proud of this. I lost it. I really did. I think about different situations where I found myself in when I lost it, and you have to ask yourself the question, was it worth it? I was on a plane, and a guy took my seat, just clearly took my seat, and refused to get up. I went and talked to the flight attendant and gave him my information and gave him my ticket, and came to him and showed the ticket that I had and showed that he was in the wrong seat. And he said, he can go sit over there. And refused to get out of my seat. And so she said, sir, do you mind sitting over there taking the window seat? I said, yes, I do. I said, I paid for a first class aisle seat. And she said, well, the gentleman refused to get up. I said, well, would you be so kind to call whoever you need to call to have him get up out of my seat? I paid for a first class aisle seat. And she said no. She would not call security. I said, is that right? And so I said, sir, would you be so kind to get out of my seat? And he said, there's a seat over there available by the window. And I must tell you, the plane turned red. I'm not proud of this. I said, you got, You got to be kidding me. You're not going to look. I don't want to fight over a seat. I just want my seat. That's all I want. And she said, sir, what's wrong with the seat there? It's not my seat. That's what's wrong with it. It's not my seat. She called security on me. And guess who was arrested? I was. They came on. And I said, sir, the gentleman here is in my seat. She said to him, she said to the security guy, there's a seat available there. He refused to sit down. Sir, do you realize it's a federal offense not to obey a flight attendant? Obey? Hell, what are you talking about, obey? I paid for this seat here. Here's my, he didn't want to even look at my plane ticket. They took me off the plane. And they told me, had I been nicer about it, they would have allowed me to stay on, and I had to catch another plane. They took me off the plane, complaining because I didn't complain in the appropriate manner. The guy was in my seat. I couldn't believe it. I was livid. I want to ask you, have you maybe you one of those people that might have sent you off. You might have not become angry. I don't know. But today we're talking about how do you deal with your anger? And one of the things that I'm doing, how would I have done that differently? I'd taken a deep breath and go take the other seat because she had lined up with him, and she decided that even though she was a flight attendant and she was wrong, the reason, if I knew then what I know now, that as a result of her saying, you take that seat, that's appropriate, that's fine, it's just a seat is a seat, and that it would cost me to lose an engagement, and I lost money. I mean, if I knew then, I didn't know that they were going to come on and ask me to get off the plane, and after I explained my story to the head of security, they looked at the officer who asked me to get off the plane and said, why did you ask him to get off? This man clearly had this, it was his seat. I mean, why would you ask him? Why would you not have the other guy get off? They didn't ask the other guy anything. Why did you ask this man? He has a paid for a seat. But I did not know. It cost me several $1,000s, and I couldn't sue them. Who am I going to sue? Come on, I lost it. What would I do differently? I would taken the other seat and written some letters and made some phone calls if I knew it was going to cost me that kind of money. See, you can be right, and you got to ask yourself, is this worth it? Is it worth it? Because it cost me. It didn't cost the other guy anything. Didn't cost her anything. I was so angry. I didn't even get her information. We followed up, and they I sent letters in, made some phone calls, did all that, and they put a letter, they said, in her file. Yeah, right, whatever. Oh, my God, that's just one. The number to call is 888-539-2980. Have you ever lost it? And if so, how you deal with that? How do you handle that? What have you been doing to curb that? Do you understand what I'm talking about? I even hate talking about it. I'm breaking out in a sweat. The number to call is 888-539-2980. Handling anger. How do you deal with situations if you've lost it in the past and you've been able to manage that and get that under control? 888-539-2980. I want to hear from you. I know I'm not the only one. 888-539-2980. My name is Les Brown. This is Mamie Brown's Baby Boy. You're listening to KFWB News Talk 980.